Hello you fantastic people, and welcome back to Borderlands 3, to a build video I did not think I was going to be able to make, but this is the level 60 Mayhem 10 flak pet build, and it absolutely destroys all mobbing situations. It's actually pretty good at bossing as well. Depending on the boss, they have to be reachable by pet, but other than that, it destroys bosses as well. It's so much fun to use. I'm going to start showing clips on screen for you guys just so you can see the amount of damage this thing puts out. You actually become a serious team. Flak and Flak's pet both do crazy amounts of damage. Both keep each other alive, and it's so cool actually having a team with just Flak and pet and being able to rely upon pet destroying things. And I did not expect to get anything out of this build today, by the way. I just did it for a laugh, thought I'd be able to show stream tonight. Turns out I made a whole build video on it because it's actually that good, and I really want you guys to be able to try it out for yourselves. It is the exact same weapon loadout as we had for Gamma Burst Flak that we made last night. If you guys didn't see that, you can check that out as well if you guys want to see a full Gamma Burst build and any weapon suggestions. But in this build video, we're going to go over the skill tree changes. We're going to skip the weapons because they're all the same. But the skill tree changes that actually buff Flak's pet's abilities are actually crazy. Using both kill skills for Flak's pet and Flak himself amp each other at the same time, keep each other alive. It's just a really cool combo to see. So yeah, in the clips you guys are seeing, essentially you do damage, he does damage, you get kill skills, and you both become stronger and stronger and stronger. And the amount of damage you can pump into pet is ridiculous. He hits for millions, takes out bosses by himself. At the start, if you guys try this one out, don't stress if he doesn't do stuff at the beginning. Like if you just run into an arena, let pet go by himself, it doesn't work like that. Essentially, you're an actual team. You have to go kill things while he's killing things, and you're both getting kill skills. And as you're getting your stacks up of both your kill skills, he becomes an absolute monster and just destroys packs of them. For example, if you throw Gamma Burst down, he'll probably explode any enemy that's within a range in the burst. It's a lot of fun. Plus, if you use your attack command, I don't know if you guys ever use that, but I sure as hell have never bothered using attack commands until the last few days of the new patch, and it's actually really, really cool. You can also use any pet you want for this build, by the way. I would highly recommend the Spider Ant Scorcher. It's really cool. The fire explosion hits for so much damage, probably more than Flak in a lot of situations as well, which is really, really cool. But yeah, I really did not expect anything from this build today, and I ran it in the melee 1 takedown and absolutely crushed it. Had no problems whatsoever in any mobbing or bossing situation, which is fantastic. The Guardian takedown, it'd probably struggle a little bit more just because things fly around too quickly and they're up in the air, and Flak's pets have a little bit of a hard time trying to get ranged shots to work with most of them. The Jabber might go okay, but the other two do lack in that region, unfortunately. But essentially, any mobbing situation where they're on the ground, like the melee 1 takedown, I had absolutely no problem with. They do millions and millions of damage, and it's so cool and fun to use. I want to recommend it for you guys. But yeah, now that you guys have seen the amount of damage this thing does, let's go through the skill tree for you guys, starting with the blue tree, of course, being Gamma Burst. Chuck that one on. Honestly, any augments you really want, I put it in both the ones that buff pets damage, being Atomic Aroma. More radiation damage around them the whole time is great. Plus, Endurance is a really good kill skill, actually. Whenever Flak or Flak's pet kills an enemy, they get increased Gamma Burst duration, which is always good for doing damage and surviving. Plus, you actually get increased pet damage as well. Stacks up to 5 times, which is at max 50% extra pet damage, which is actually a lot. Like, how hard is it getting 5 kills in a mobbing situation? So that's always stacked very, very quickly, and you just get tons of damage. As for skill points, I put 3 points in Persistent Hunter. You get increased gun damage, and Gamma Burst is open for longer. Believe it or not, the side ones I've always said have been entirely useless. Put 1 or 2 points in whichever one you want. Now put 5 points in each. It's actually worth doing now. Whenever Flak's pet attacks enemy, first melee attack is automatic crit hit and critical hit. That deals increased damage, 75% crit hit damage at 5 points. The one on the left, we've got 3 extra points from our class mod, which isn't too hard to get, but you increase the damage by 80%, which is really, really good. Next up, put 5 points in Frenzy, as well as either putting 1 point by your skill points, or just use your class mod to put a point in He Bites. Combine these two, and there's crazy amounts of damage. Whenever Flak's pet does damage or gets attacked, essentially stacks Frenzy immediately. 10 stacks of Frenzy gets you 40% extra damage, which is fantastic. So definitely put 5 points in there. Then put 5 points into Who Rescued Who. Whenever Flak's pet deals damage, we get regen of health, which is good because there's not a whole bunch of health in the other trees for this build. Plus, you keep your pet alive whenever you're dealing in damage, making pet like pretty much unkillable in this build. I've actually never seen him down whilst running this build. Then put a point into Psycho Head on a Stick. Great skill point name. Whenever Flak kills an enemy, their pet gains increased movement speed and damage, being 20% damage for 8 seconds. Essentially goes on a rampage and it's really, really good. Would recommend it, and you could proc that like on repeat very easily. Then put 3 points into Hive Mind. Essentially, whenever Flak takes damage, Pet shares some of that damage, being 15%, making Flak more tanky because Pet will not be killed. So sharing as much as you can with Pet is really, really good. Put 5 points in Barbaric Yelp, absolutely necessary whenever you're going down Blue Tree. Pet bonuses granted to Flak increased by 200% is actually a ridiculous ability. Definitely put 5 points in it. Then put a point in Mutated Defenses whenever Flak's pet is at a low health. If that ever manages to happen, they'll make sure they don't ever die. It's fantastic. You get crazy damage reduction, 30%, and then you get 40% health regen per second for 6 seconds, making them like instantly full health. There's nothing does enough damage to take this pet down anymore, which is awesome. Put a point in Shared Spirit. Again, sharing your damage with Flak's pet makes you less killable. I'm actually making Flak pretty survivable as well. Even though we're not even using Burst Aid, you don't really need it when you have all of this damage shared with pet. Then put 3 points in Pack Tactics. All damage dealt by Flak and their pet is increased. So both of us get 21% damage increase plus 15% max health increase, which is really, really good. Then we'll go over to the Red Tree. There is 2 different strats for this, by the way. If you guys want to use the Spider Ant Scorcher, which would be my recommendation for most situations, pretty much the Guardian Takedown would be the only reason I'd say to change this one up. But to start off with, I would definitely 100% regardless put 5 points into Interplanetary Stalker. Fantastic kill skill for both you and pet. Whenever you get kills, you get increased stacks. You can have 3 stacks, totaling 30% extra damage for us, 15% extra damage for pet, which is great. Put 3 points into Leave No Trace. Crit hits puts ammo back in the magazine, meaning we can shoot for longer, doing more damage, less time reloading, which is great. Then I put 2 points into Head Count. Getting our Gamma Burst back as quickly as possible is really good. You don't really need more than 2 points, honestly. I think 2 is a great number for Gamma Burst because you don't spend much time out of it. It's a really long duration and you just want to get it back real quick. It usually takes about 5-6 seconds maybe with 2 points in, which is great. And that will give you enough to get down to the Spider Ant Scorcher. When using Barbaric Yelp, gets you 30% extra elemental damage and 3% of max health regen is great. Would recommend using that one. Spider Ant Scorcher also has the greatest like pure damage with their ability. They have a Fire Burst, which you guys probably saw at the start with the clips. Absolutely hits for millions, destroys bosses, destroys anything. It's great. If you get a whole pile of enemies at once, use Gamma Burst. He uses that attack. Nothing is surviving. It's awesome to watch. Then over to Green Tree, we've gone about halfway down of that one as well. Put 5 points in Furious Attack. We get 2% gun damage per stack just for shooting things, and Pet gets 3% damage per stack, which is really, really good. 10 stacks total means 30% damage for Pet, 20% for us, and it's very easy to get 10 stacks if you're a stack. It's literally just for shooting things. Then put 3 points into Sikkim, which I literally learned the name of today because I've never used attack commands. I've never used Pet in like actual battle other than using Gamma Burst for it. So having this ability is really good. Having 30% extra attack command damage and 30% cooldown on that attack command is really good. You can use it very, very regularly. For example, the Spider Ant Scorcher attack command is it will charge at enemies. So if you just aim it at a stack of them, send it in there, it'll do that crazy little fireball thing that explodes and just destroys a pack of enemies. It's kind of like playing bowling with Pet. Then put 2 points into Self-Repairing System. We get increased max health as well as some health regen, which is great. We also have a point in Eager to Impress from our class model, which is good as well. Action skill cooldown time is reduced whenever you get a kill. Plus, whenever Flak's pet kills an enemy, you get attack command cooldown completely refreshed. So you can use that on repeat all the time, which is really, really good for just Pet doing tons of damage. Plus, I put a point in Lick the Wounds because I love having Pet being able to revive me. And having this ability in this build, sometimes they fail at reviving you in other builds. This build, Pet never dies, so he's pretty much guaranteed to revive you every single time, which is great. So you essentially just won't properly die as Flak in like a melee 1 takedown or something like that. Plus, if you guys have seen, I have never really paid attention to this extra perk inside Lick the Wounds, even though I've always used it. Whenever Flax Pet successfully actually does revive you, they get 30% increased damage for 60 seconds, which is really, really nice. Really long amount of time plus a lot of damage. So if you ever actually die, it's just kind of a good thing, honestly, because you're definitely getting back up. The pet's just going to do more damage. So that's definitely recommended for that. Now that's the first build option for you guys. Slight adjustment: if you guys want to run the Guardian Takedown, you'll have to use the Gunslinger Jabber because it's the only pet that has good range attacks. This one's attack command is melee, unfortunately, but you'll have to spend an extra 4 points to get down to Gunslinger Jabber. So I would just take out the 4 points from Red Tree. I'd probably just take all 5 of these, honestly. 1 point in Leave No Trace isn't really worth it. You wouldn't be able to use Scorcher anymore, so I would just take 5 out of here and then put 3 in Turn Tail and Run. You get a bunch of gun damage, damage reduction while moving, health regen, and some fire rate as well. All great things. Then put 3 points into Fast and Furious. You'd have a ton of extra damage. Pet would have more damage, and movement speed. Those are all great abilities, and I was considering doing them for this build. But if you're doing any other mobbing situation other than the Guardian Takedown, the Scorcher far outclasses the Gunslinger Jabber, unfortunately. So it's definitely worth having sort of a weird half-half green Red Tree build, which honestly I kind of rate. Never really done it before, but it works out really, really well. Not even having a capstone in this build, surprisingly, you do tons of damage like you guys saw at the start of the video. But yeah, if you guys want to run Gunslinger Jabber, that's what I would recommend for the Guardian Takedown. Just put 3 points here, 3 points here, or what is it? We only had 5. Yeah, just go 3 and 2. Then you have Gunslinger Jabber for the Guardian Takedown. Also, can't forget about the Great Horn Skag. I really love this pet for particularly the Gun Burst builds. You get tons of extra damage and gun damage yourself. Doesn't keep up with the amount of damage the Spider Ant does, which is why I was using him as my main pet for this build. But I'd say he probably has better AI. He's a bit less derpy than the Spider Ant Scorcher. Sometimes the Spider Ant gets stuck and you have to use the attack command to send him after a pet. You get an enemy, because the pet will get a little bit confused. Whereas the Great Horn Skag is always just sprinting around chasing things and actually attacking them. Just does slightly less damage himself than the Spider Ant's crazy fire burst thing. But you guys can try out that one as well. Literally all 3 of those pets are fantastic choices for this build. Also, just quickly, all the same modifiers as well as yesterday's build, the Gunburst build. Big Kick Energy, increased damage. Healy Avenger, never really notice it, honestly, when mobbing situations. It's not a huge deal. Chain Gang, very obvious, easy thing to jump over. Doesn't really do too much damage, and something I like doing because I can manage it. I can jump over, I can always see it. And Buddy System is a great Mayhem modifier as well for this build, just like the Gun Burst from last night. The only difference is Pet doesn't know what the buddy systems are, so it won't actually attack them. So essentially just stick near Pet and shoot all of those, and Pet will deal the damage to the enemies as well. If it starts attacking one of them, it won't realize the buddy system is there and will just keep attacking something that's immune. So yeah, just stick near them for the few enemies that have buddy system, and they both do crazy amounts of damage. But yeah, that is everything I have for the Mayhem 10 level 60 Flak pet build. I'm so keen that we finally got to build one of these, and it was actually viable and really fun to use. I'd highly recommend you guys checking it out, particularly if you made the Gamma Burst build from last night. It's very easy to just change over the skill tree to this build and try it out, because it's all the same weapons, all the same annoyance, shields, artifacts, class mounts, all that stuff is all the same. If you guys want to check out any of the gear or anything like that for this build, check out last night's build. It'll be linked at the end card title screen thing, or just in the description. If you guys enjoyed this video, as always, I'd love it if you guys could smash subscribe down below, smash that like button. You can leave a comment down below if you guys have any suggestions for different builds or anything to change for this build, anything like that. Love to hear it down there. And yeah, if you guys want to check us out over on Twitch, it's linked down below. I live stream every single night just after I post my YouTube videos, and we'll be live tonight trying out some more builds, making some new builds, and just having fun with chat. And yeah, cool to see you guys over there. Till next time, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I shall see you guys in the next video and a live stream. Till then, adios.